Postseason, North Carolina won it 3-0 in the 2018 ACC Tournament quarterfinals. Now they meet again to start the event in 2023. Virginia Tech in the maroon, North Carolina is in the blue. Sit back and enjoy this one.
Yeah, I think the first 10, 15 minutes are vital, especially for Virginia Tech in this game. Coming off of a really rough loss to Duke and just a tough stretch down the end of the season. North Carolina can jump on them early. Maybe you dampen those spirits. But if Virginia Tech can do the opposite and get out in front, you get a little bit of energy. Hey, it's the postseason. Like you said, whole new ball game now.
You saw the note on your screen there, and Kyle called it a tough loss. That may be an understatement. Spercedo is called for a handball. Our center referee, it's not Christopher Grabas, free kick for Virginia Tech, but a 7-1 defeat on the road at Duke. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about that game is that it was tied 1-1 at halftime, and it stayed a 1-1 game until the 54th minute. Duke exploded for 6 goals in the last 36 or so minutes of that game.
And there was a red card for Virginia Tech. You know, they were down a player for a large part of that second half, so you can understand it a little bit.
Tar Heel down. Sam Williams, standout sophomore who started every game. Product of the New York Red Bulls Academy, has worn the captain's armband at times when Riley Thomas has been limited this year. Mr. Christopher Grabas makes sure that everything is set to go. Hokies take it back through the midfield. Declan Quill back in the starting lineup, 7 in maroon. Here is Pugh, crosses it in front. Opportunity in the box. Virginia Tech on the board.
Started with the takeaway at midfield. It didn't allow Carolina to get that back line set up.
Virginia Tech had about a 3-on-3 at midfield. Kyle, they just push the numbers forward, create some havoc, and wind up finishing.
And the goal by Yoshizawa last year, ACC all-freshman team, has had kind of an up-and-down season, but there's what I'm talking about, that early strike for Virginia Tech. Now there's some excitement for the Hokies.
You know, you hear the phrase half volley in soccer. Can we call that a half bicycle kick?
Yeah. Sidecar.
Oh, there you go. A unicycle kick. 1-0 Virginia Tech. Yoshizawa scoring for the 3rd time this year. He's also scored against Clemson and Queens. Declan Quill credited with the assist. Bad touch by Quincy Ehrman, and another turnover leads to possession for Virginia Tech. And Kyle, if you are on the Hokie bench, coming off of a game like the 7-1 defeat against Duke, scoring less than 2 minutes into a road contest to start the postseason, that is about as good of a fresh start as you could possibly imagine.
Coach Brizendine has been at it for a while. He understands, you know, what you need to do mentally to get ready for a game, coming off of a bad loss, getting ready for the postseason, whatever the situation. I'm sure they talked about that game and then flushed that game. Hey, not only are we going into the postseason, but you can't change the past. He had them ready to come here tonight, and you get that early goal. Now you just got to keep that intensity up, though. Don't allow that momentum to swing towards North Carolina's side.
Yeah, we talked to Coach Briz prior to the game, and he said, you know, you may not believe it, but the mood of this team is high. The culture is strong. They really get along with one another, and that allows them to stay tight through some difficult times, such as what they've experienced, losing 3 straight to end the regular season.
Yeah, and the regular season doesn't go the way they want. They're going to have to probably win this tournament to get into the NCAA, but because the ACC is so difficult, win a few games, maybe you got a chance.
Matt Edwards attempts the cross. Played away. Mayola Kinyua, wearing the captain's armband for Virginia Tech, leads the counter. 4-8-4 overall, 2-5-1 in the ACC for the Hokies. ACC wins against Louisville on the road and Boston College at home. And the draw against North Carolina. Here's Ehrman. Didn't play in North Carolina's regular season finale against Virginia. Dances into the box, fires off across to Vitchian. Can't strike it. And it goes out for a corner. Last touch by Virginia Tech.
Owiwama was there to get just a cleat on it and knock it away from Vitchian. This was a really good pass in the midfield, back and forth. Ehrman and check. And a great timed run from Vitchian as well. If you're Carolina and you're on that sideline, that's a really positive thing. They haven't lost the composure. They're staying with the game plan.
Second ball off the corner, won by Williams and the Tar Heels. It can be really easy when you concede at home so early to lose that focus and composure. North Carolina hunting for an equalizer. Ben Fisher, the sophomore, plays it away.
That's where going into the transfer portal and getting those three guys you mentioned, Bercedo, Vitchian, and Ehrman, really helps out because you get talent, but you also get experience. And you know, North Carolina, they've looked at the numbers. They understand that Virginia Tech is a team that they can score against. They just have to be extremely tight on the defensive side of things now.
It's worth noting, North Carolina made their way through the regular season, 15-game span, without conceding multiple goals in any game.
And that's where some of that composure is being able to stay together because you know, hey, as long as we don't have a bad turnover in midfield, our defense is up to the task. Now they just have to find a way to get something going offensively, get that equalizer, and then worry about anything afterwards.
Yeah, Carlos Zamwana, the 2011 national champion. Defense definitely not the concern for his Tar Heels.
Defense and possession are what I always think about with a Carlos Zamwana team. It's actually why I was so surprised that there was that turnover at midfield that led to that goal.
Edwards on the overlapping run. Carolina keeping the pressure up. O'Farrell touches it on for Ehrman and played easily by the Hokie keeper, the 6'7" Timmy Adams. If Mike Young needs an extra body on the Hokies men's basketball team this winter, I think he knows who to call.
They can go ahead and split scholarships,
Exactly.
help each other out. Good work from Carolina there to create another solid opportunity. I think Edwards probably wanted to loft that ball and not have it stay on the ground, but still you get a shot on goal out of it. Looks like they got checked there on a little bit of a late challenge.
Hokies restart play. They'll serve it into the box. Headed away. Declan Quill loses it over the sideline. Riley Thomas will toss it in for North Carolina. Thomas, limited earlier this season, played in just 11 games in the regular year with 10 starts, but a key veteran piece of the North Carolina defense. We discuss all the experience of the transfer forwards for the Tar Heels. That experience came at other schools. The back line, guys like Thomas, Matt Edwards, who we've mentioned already, Till Zinhard, those are players who came into this season with a lot of experience at North Carolina, and it's really paying off with the cohesion of this defense this year.
Yeah, because they're predicated on defense, I really think that is a huge part of how this team has come together. Especially, you think about the situation in goal. You know, they're on their third-string goalkeeper, but Cordes was their starter last year. How many teams can say that?
Yeah, Carlos Zamwana has joked saying, most years, if you're on your third goalkeeper, you've got a huge problem. But that's not the case with Andrew Cordes, who ranks #1 in the ACC and third nationally in goals against average. Leads the ACC in save percentage as well. Colin Travassos broke his leg 3 games into the season. Quinn Clausen suffered an injury.
He was the goalie when they played Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Clausen went down September 20th and entered Cordes. Thrust back into the starter role. And
when you have those guys that are here, grown at Carolina on the defensive side, like you said, with Cordes playing with them, there's already a familiarity, a continuity that they had. It's not something that you have to go figure out while you're playing against ACC competition.
And Cortez, when he transferred to North Carolina from the University of Portland, he wasn't the projected starter going into last season. He was in a competition with Clausen in the preseason. Clausen was hurt in the preseason last year. That handed the job to Cortez. And then it was another Clausen injury, and this time Cortez has really seized it. Here's Czech streaking into the box. Adams stops it, ball jarred free. Opportunity for Viccian. Virginia Tech avoids danger. Fisher looking upfield.
Adams needed all 6'7", and whatever length those gloves gave him to stop that one. It was a really nice individual effort from Czech.
Talking to Coach Briz about what Adams brings to the table as a goalkeeper, he said, listen, you look at the roster and it says he's a junior. And that's true. He's in his third year in the Hokie program. But he hadn't played prior to this year. So experience-wise, he's a freshman. But the one thing he has that you can't teach, it's size. At 6'7", he's going to make saves that other keepers simply cannot.
Yeah, you just cover more ground because you've got that size. And, you know, one thing that I would not argue with, but just counter coach with is I can't call him a freshman because you've got those 2 years of growth and maturity. It may not be out on the field with actual game time experience, but there's a lot to be said of being an 18-year-old versus a 20-year-old.
One 1-0 Virginia Tech here in this ACC tournament first round showdown. Misei Yoshizawa, the Tokyo, Japan sophomore, scoring less than 2 minutes into the game. Winner of this one moves on to see the second seed and the Atlantic Division champion Wake Forest. It'll be Sunday, 4 o'clock, ACC Network in Winston-Salem.
And neither of these teams are looking forward to that one. Obviously, you got to win to get there, but good luck against that Wake Forest team this year.
They have not lost in the Twin City this season, 8-0-3 at home.
I think that Demon Deacon team is good enough to win the ACC 9 times out of 10. They just happen to have a Notre Dame team that doesn't know what giving up a goal means.
Notre Dame did concede a goal in their road game against Wake Forest, but it was a 1-1 draw. I think a lot of people might expect to see those two teams, the Irish and the Deacs, meet once again for a conference crown and carry. Here comes Virginia Tech on the attack again. Played out well by Till Zinhard.
I like how quickly Virginia Tech is getting that ball up through the midfield and into the attacking third, not wasting any time.
Well, what it's done, Kyle, is it's opened up the game on both ends. North Carolina, we said it, they are a possession-oriented team. They're content to slow the game down, control possession, dictate the tempo. But Virginia Tech has had the upper hand there, and we've had an open game because of it.
Yeah, and that's not the way that Carolina wants to play, and that's part of why I like Virginia Tech doing that. Force Carolina to play your style, and if they're going to equalize, at least it's on your terms.
Another attack stalls out near the top of the box. 23 in maroon, Sergios Benaritis, freshman from Cyprus.
Yeah, and ultimately, no team should feel comfortable with a 1-0 lead. That's not what you should expect to win with. So keep pushing, try and get more goals.
If you're Virginia Tech and you find a way to a second, you've put North Carolina at a place where they literally have not been the entire season.
Not only because they haven't given up multiple goals, but they're not a team that's out there scoring in bunches. Carolina's got some goal scorers up top, Vichy and Herman that we talked about, but they're typically going to score a goal or two in a game.
Yeah, Carolina this season has just 3 games of scoring 3 or more. All in non-conference play, 4 against VCU, 3 each against UNCW and Florida Gulf Coast.
And no offense to those teams playing in conference versus non-conference, it's just a different level in the ACC.
Yoshizawa, the goal scorer. Carter Hensley, long ball, headed out by Thomas. Hokies again off a turnover. Played wide. Quill and Edwards. Yoshizawa again. Into the box. Harper, the last line of defense, plays it away, and Virginia Tech will have their first corner of the game.
You don't want to give up a corner, but that was the only play Carolina had right there. Beautiful build by the Hokies. They've done a good job, Matt, of switching fields and doing it quickly, which has kept Carolina spread out and opened up some gaps in that defense.
Ethan Hackenberg, Pittsburgh Jr., will take the corner. No relation to the former Virginia Tech baseball standout, Drew Hackenberg. Serve to the far post. Again in for Quill. And the offside flag comes up.
Could hear that collision up here in the booth.
Riley Thomas is the Tar Heel that is on the turf.
Hackenberg came in. He was the one who was whistled for the offside. You hope when you see that kind of a thing that they just knock the wind out of each other.
Yeah, just a hard physical play. It's the postseason.
And Hackenberg even pulled up. He saw the collision coming, and there's nothing that either player could do. It's actually a good thing Hackenberg saw it. Could have been much worse if they both went up full tilt.
Yeah, at that point, you're looking at a potential head-to-head collision. That's not what you want to see. Riley Thomas has been a mainstay in the Tar Heels starting 11 since midway through his freshman year. Logical choice to wear the captain's armbands.
He's one of those players, because he has played so much for so long, you almost forget that it's only 4 years in college. Like, oh, he's been around for 6-7 years. What do you mean?
He has another year of eligibility. He was honored on senior day, but since he was a freshman during the COVID season.
It's that last group that gets that 5th year if they want.
Folks that are true seniors this year are the last class that has the 5th year if they so choose. And back to Cordes. Fisher and Vercedo going for it. Play on. Cardona, 18 in maroon, inserted into the starting lineup for Virginia Tech tonight. Cardona making his 10th start of the year.
Since those couple of shots Carolina was able to get, the last one coming from Czech, Virginia Tech's done a good job of keeping possession and keeping the ball away from the forwards for Carolina. That's the key. Keep it off the foot of Vichian and Erman.
Vichian has it at his feet now. He'll switch play, looking for the aforementioned Erman. Heavy touch, trying to settle it down, and Virginia Tech takes possession right back. That's a situation, Kyle, where if that pass is completed cleanly and Erman settles it, he's got the opportunity to streak down the wing, potentially get it across. Instead, it turns into a turnover.
Exactly. It just comes down to, is that pass a little heavy? Is the touch a little strong? Typically, that's not the kind of play you'll see from Carolina, though, where they're playing that long pass, switching field down that deep.
And it just kind of shows what Virginia Tech has done to frustrate them defensively. And the Tar Heels have gotten into the final third tonight. Edwards for Harper. David Vercedo, Quinnipiac transfer, looking for his options.
You see Virginia Tech not really putting any pressure on Carolina until they get that ball across midfield.
So the Tar Heels go with the long ball. Adams will play it cleanly. But then once the Tar Heels get across midfield, that pressure's been relentless from the forward and midfield line.
It has. And when you get them to play that ball like they just did, that's playing into the defense hands. They're able to set back. It's when you have the passes through the midfield, get a guy streaking down one corner, get them in space. That's where Carolina's attackers are so dangerous.
Thomas blasts it looking for Vician.
That's what they're trying to do, Carolina, right now. They're trying to get it to either Bercedo or Herman down on the outsides. And here's a different style Carolina high-pressure team. Right? It doesn't matter where the ball is on the field, Blue Jerseys swarm to.
Cardona. Substitution. We're just about 20 minutes into our contests. Oliver Roche, the freshman from Denmark, who scored the goal for Virginia Tech in their regular season draw with North Carolina, tied for the team lead in goals with 4. He'll step on as a substitute.
And they've been impactful goals. He has that one, like you said, late against Carolina. Looks like maybe it could be the game winner, but 2 of his 4 have actually been game winners.
Will. Now you look at Virginia Tech's season, they earned points in 3 of their 8 ACC games. 2 of those 3, Roche scored against Louisville and Carolina.
A lot like Herman and Carolina.
Bercedo. Roche making an impact defensively, commits a foul.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have a player like that where if they go, you go as well as a team. But it's also kind of the downfall if that's the only person that you're going to rely on.
Yeah, Mike Brizendine said it. You know, Roche has kind of run into that freshman wall late in the season, and that's a reason why the Hokies have struggled to click offensively the last couple of games.
Yeah, and part of that, I think you've got to credit teams. As the year goes on, they see tape on the freshman. Okay, let's focus on the freshman now, take him out of the equation. And for young players trying to figure out the next step, that's the wall that they end up hitting.
I'm glad you brought up that point on watching tape, because when you have these 2 teams that played each other in the conference opener, that was way back in early September. And then there was another question we asked Coach Brizendine, okay, do you intently study that game? And he said, you know, you take a quick look at it, but because it was so long ago, you're looking at more recent tape of North Carolina because both teams have changed, grown, and developed so much since that matchup.
Yeah, and everybody has injuries throughout the years or just changes because of personnel and who gets out there, who does better in practice. So, yeah, it's something you have to look at, but you can't put too much on it.
Herman with space, has Bercedo in front of him. He'll serve it to the top of the 6, played out. Bercedo has it pop up into his wrist. That'll be Virginia Tech's the other way.
That was a good look from Herman. He had Vician making that run, but I think he was screened and didn't see one of those defenders. I'd also like to see that ball up. Vician at 6'4" is a good target for a ball in the air.
And utilize that height. Parker O'Farrell, Raleigh native. Vician, physical battle.
It's Uwimana. It's the freshman right there, 5'8", battling with Vician. He was the one, remember, that knocked it away from him on the cross from Herman early in this half.
Uwimana, Austin, Texas native. Earned a starting role now in 12 games in his freshman campaign in Blacksburg. Alexandria, Virginia sophomore. A lot of young faces on this Virginia Tech team.
That's something to be excited about. I mean, you never know who's going to be back because of the transfer portal nowadays, but you look at freshmen and sophomore that are key contributors, tells you that the future should be bright.
And it's a program that went 0-8 in the ACC last year, but then won their ACC tournament game. Meanwhile, here's Hackenberg with a step. Flag stays down. Hackenberg unable to play it centrally. Harper clears it away. It will be a Hokie corner.
That's the continuity for defense that we talked about. Riley knew that he had somebody right on his left, so instead of having to play the ball or the man, he's able to just shield the man off and allow his teammate to take the ball. This is one of the reasons that he's got that armband for the captain. Good job staying together by that back line for the Tar Heels.
Jamison Charles into the match for the Tar Heels, as is Ahmad Alquak. Alquak stepping into the forward line. He made the start in the place of Ehrman, the regular season finale against Virginia. A couple of goals this season for Alquak. See at the bottom of your screen, 34 in Carolina blue.
He's really got the ability to help make something happen on the offensive side.
Ehrman dances down the line, evades a defender, plays it back for Alquak. Kinyua leads the break the other way. You see Ehrman on the right side of the field an awful lot from our perspective. He's making his way down the left side end line there. Now at the top of the box. Ehrman, Adams plays it away.
Really nice job by Carolina to keep that ball in and immediately turn it into another possession. Back to the goal from Vichian, able to shield off two defenders. This is where that size really comes into play. You see one on the hip, another one coming over to close in. That was Hensley.
So corner for the Tar Heels, their first of the night. It's served short. Zinhard. Back for Alquak, weaving through traffic. Alquak doesn't have the angle. And last touch to Carolina. It's a goal kick.
Unlucky bounce for Carolina right there. Alquak did what you want to do. Got it down to the end line, tried the cross, deflected off of the defender, but came back and hit him. This is what Carlos wanted, though. You get Charles and Alquak out there, give that offense a little bit of a burst that they were starting to lack.
This game here tonight, one of 4 ACC tournament first-round games, 3 of them all starting here in the 6 o'clock hour. We have 3 1-0 score lines. Syracuse up on NC State at home, 1-0. It's in the 26th minute there. And then Duke, an early goal. They lead Boston College at home, also in the 26th minute.
I'd say at least one of those 3 teams, Duke. Who was the other one?
Syracuse, the reigning national champs.
Virginia Tech. One of those 3 aren't going to win.
Mm-hmm. Winner of this one, we'll see Wake Forest. Substitution for Virginia Tech, Theo Drennan. Just the second time this year he's come off the bench. Richmond, Virginia sophomore. He'll replace Hackenberg.
Sometimes after the way the season ended, you got to shake some things up.
That's exactly what the Hokies did, coming off that 7-1 defeat against Duke. Regular season finale. Fisher. Forward for Kinyua, but the ball was over the sideline. Fisher doesn't like the call.
I don't think any player ever likes to call the post against him.
Yeah, you don't see very many players saying, oh yeah, that was a great call, referee. Defended well by Cardona.
Nice burst of speed there to get to it before Alquak.
Those are the kind of little things that win you games. Fitchian turning, Adams parries it away, ball still free. Opportunity, and the Tar Heels tie it up. It's Ehrman!
Adams did a good job stopping that shot from Fitchian that got its way through traffic. Just couldn't recover in time to stop the laser on the other side from Ehrman. Again, great job back to the goal from Fitchian, looking for options and finally said, all right, we're going to go ahead and take a rip here, and the failed clear. Some miscommunication. There were 3 different Hokies there. One of them get it out. You don't have an opportunity if you're Ehrman.
Adams not being able to cleanly save it the first time. The miscommunication. Quincy Ehrman finding the back of the net. 9th goal of the season for Ehrman. Kyle Carolina is undefeated in games in which he tallies a point this season.
Can't tie this one. That's what they did last time they played Virginia Tech. So one way or another, they're either going to keep that streak alive or suffer the first loss.
The rule changed last year to eliminate overtime in regular season men's and women's college soccer.
The right move.
Absolutely.
Playing twice a week, it's a lot on their legs.
But now in the postseason, the rule that was changed last year, if this game is level at the conclusion of 90 minutes, you play the 2 10-minute overtime periods, no longer golden goal. You have to play the entirety of overtime, even if one team scores. And then if we're still even after that, go to penalty kicks to decide who moves on to Winston-Salem on Sunday.
And I think the fairest way is probably that, but honestly, as a fan, golden goal is so exciting.
The drama of it all.
Yeah. Really important for Virginia Tech how they handled this last 15 minutes of the half. They came out, they were able to hit North Carolina in the face. It invigorated them back and forth, and then Carolina's able to get the equalizer. What is your answer if you're Virginia Tech?
And Kyle, we've talked about the Hokies turning the page and bouncing back from the tough loss at Duke. That was a game in which, when the Blue Devils took the lead in the second half, things really spiraled. You almost never see it spiral like that, but being able to avoid a similar situation, critical for Mike Brisendine's team.
Yep, it's just coming down to what's your reaction to it? How do you handle it?
Alquak works his way free, puts it on the ground. Adams able to jump on top of it.
Carolina continuing on the offensive side to get some opportunities. That goal, the only shot Virginia Tech has mustered, even though they've had the ball down in Carolina's territory enough, got to find a way to get in that last third, that extra pass.
Here's Drennan leading the way for Virginia Tech. Fisher crosses it in. Zinhard. Kenua, the captain. Jamison Charles, what a tackle.
Called back. Might be a card.
Hokie captain goes in the book.
I think that's a frustration one there. He almost lost it once to Charles, gained position back, but lost the ball at his feet and then just started pulling.
Senior from Nairobi, Kenya. Came off the bench in the Duke game. That's the only game this year in which he did not start. Back in the starting 11 here tonight. Kenua had the assist on the Roach goal against the Tar Heels in the regular season. Charles can't connect with Ernest Bawa.
Tell you what, just looking at the stats, Carolina has been super efficient. 8 shots with 6 of them on frame.
Making Adams work.
Absolutely. And to his credit, outside of the failed clear, he has not allowed any loose ball rebounds and second chances for the Tar Heels.
Just that one opportunity where he knocked the ball away, and the Virginia Tech teammates unable to clear it cleanly. Quincy Airmon jumped on it, equalized the game for the Tar Heels. Another opportunity potentially for Virginia Tech. Fisher lofts it for Drennan. Heavy ball. Drennan slides to keep it in play. Well done.
Good hustle. He's going to get a corner out of it, too.
That's a ball where he could have seen it bouncing toward the sideline, let it roll out. Instead, hustles, lays out. Hokies will line up for a corner.
It wasn't a corner, but it was a cross in which Virginia Tech scored on. Actually, the game earlier this year, that's how they scored against the Tar Heels as well. So you got to feel like these set pieces where they can get bodies in the box, this is their best opportunity.
Sergios Feneritis to take the corner. Bawa first to get there for the Tar Heels. Carolina had everybody back, so Virginia Tech will keep possession. Kinua. Feneritis. Ball played right to Andrew Check of Carolina. And then Quill commits the foul on Bawa.
That was a veteran move right there from Bawa. Slowed up his momentum, knowing that the defender was going to run him over. That allows Carolina to get numbers forward, which was something they didn't have.
There's Bawa, senior from Ghana, a couple of goals this season. Bawa hits the deck, play on.
That's the right call there. There was some contact, but not enough to elicit a foul.
Thomas tackles it back from Fisher. Williams widens. This is Edwards. Feneritis looking for Roche. Already has one goal against the Tar Heels this season. Won't get a chance to double that now because he's offside.
I like that. We talked about it earlier this half. That quick counterattack from Virginia Tech, trying to get the ball upfield before the defense can get back. Credit Carolina, though. The offside was there, but also they had numbers. Roche, the only one who was forward. Wasn't off by much.
Virginia Tech searching for their first shot since that look less than 2 minutes into the game that gave them the 1-0 lead. Nisei Yoshizawa's goal, putting Virginia Tech on top. Check. Plays it off for Alquak. Charles dances inside. Check again. Adams was racing out to play that ball. Instead, the defender got there. It was Carter Hensley. Left the ball free in the box for a little bit.
Communication there. Got to talk to each other. There's a little bit of a punt from Czech. He didn't have any options over there, so just played it into the box, hoping something would happen.
Andy Sullins checks in for Virginia Tech. Sullins and Isaiah Bird, a couple of unique transfers for Virginia Tech this season. They came to Blacksburg from the University of Virginia, flipping from one rival to another.
I live in this area. I couldn't realize it and couldn't believe it when I saw that Carolina had somebody now playing for Duke.
Yeah, Cameron Fisher. Yeah. Sullins comes into the game and commits a foul. All clock. Speeding. Stopping.
Cardona has really hounded him since he came into the game.
Willie Cardona, Winthrop transfer.
The versatility of Matt Edwards, the right back coming up to help facilitate the offense. The player they really missed when he was out for a few games in the middle of the season.
The ability of Edwards and Riley Thomas to contribute on both ends of the field, outside backs who are able to lead the break, create scoring opportunities up the wing.
Yeah, and it's not just their ability to get upfield and help out offensively, right? Anybody can do that from the back line, but it's then being able to quickly track back and get on defense.
Sullins took a knock to the head. Christopher Grabus will check on him.
From Virginia Tech, I'm using this opportunity to take a quick breather, but also let's get some numbers forward. Play a ball deep and see if we can't get something behind Carolina's line or have somebody make a mistake. I'm actually not going to give him a free kick. Just play the ball. No foul committed. Just check him because he had hit in the back of the head.
Brennan stepping past Charles. Looking for Roche. Well too heavy. And it'll bounce away for a Carolina goal kick.
Like the idea, but immediately, as soon as he kicked that, I thought, where are you going? That ball was easily going to sail over his head.
Mike Brizendine, 15th year head coach at Virginia Tech, looking on. His team has had a lot of success in the ACC tournament, especially in this first round of late. Win tonight, and they move past the first round for the 6th time in the last 7 tournaments.
I think one of the things they'll talk about at the halftime in the locker room are opportunities like they just had. You've got to be better when you have those chances because you've only got one shot. They're few and far between. It's great that you scored on that one, but if you had it, you only have one shot. You've got to be better once you have possession deep in Carolina's territory.
Yeah, on one hand, the efficiency is great. They're 1 for 1, but the shot number that shows you who controls play, well, that's 8-1 Carolina. Might be about to be 9. Thomas can't get on the end of it. Carolina's scoring opportunity peters out.
Walk just a little bit rushed, trying to get that ball back to Riley.
Sullins. Roche was in an offside position again. Not very far down the field.
A little bit of a freshman going against a very experienced defensive unit that stays together. It's not something that's seen in a stat score sheet, but if you're a defensive back line that can stay together and keep a high line, it forces some offsides that typically a player would be able to get in behind you on.
On the flip side, Carolina leads the ACC in fewest offsides offensively, just 17 this year.
That's the possession-based thought on when you have the ball, work it upfield. Quick short passes instead of that long one where you need to time the run up.
Bawa keeps possession. Help it arriving. Adams slides out. Ehrman can't get to it.
He knows he had him. He just put a little bit too much on that touch.
Carolina pushing for a second one before halftime. Tar Heels equalized. Now have held the majority of the possession for the last 15 or so minutes. Carolina will have a free kick. Tough angle from far outside the box, but still it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 or so yards.
Nice little give and go here. Edwards and Ehrman.
Cyprus native Feneritis. He is eligible to represent Cyprus, Russia, and Greece at the international level.
Options.
Many options.
Up Carolina here, you've got the opportunity where you can play this ball in, put it into some congestion, but also remember Adams at 6'7", anything up in the air, he's going to have an advantage of. Maybe play it out. You're going to have some distance between you and the next defender. Right now they've got Zinhard and Charles about 25 yards out.
In swinging ball, right to the mitts of Adams.
Hoping for a rebound.
Yeah.
Put it on frame. Hope that he doesn't catch it cleanly.
And that's not a bad idea because some of that confusion is what led to Carolina's one goal in this game. Given away. It's Bawa turning, firing, scoring!
All three goals now have come off of turnovers and failed clear attempts. You don't take care of the ball as a defense, you put your goaltender in a really tough situation. Bad pass here on the back line. You've got to be aware of where Carolina is with that high pressure. And a great shot from Bawa, 25 yards out, went far post and put it right where it needed to be.
Third goal of the season for Ernest Bawa, the first against an ACC opponent. Scored against VCU and Florida Gulf Coast in non-conference play earlier in the year.
A note, Matt, Carolina's goals or wins in ACC play this year, the only games in which they have multiple goals in.
They're up 2-1 here. But yeah, the two ACC wins, 2-1 against Duke, 2-0 against Louisville. Now for the third time this year, the Tar Heels have scored multiple goals against an ACC foe.
That's a really tough one there for Virginia Tech to give up. If they could have gotten a halftime 1-1, felt like that would have been almost a win for them.
Bawa taking possession right back. But to your point, Kyle, it felt like Carolina recognized that and had been really pressing hard the last several minutes. Czech lost it.
Kenyu has got to be careful. He got a yellow card already. The foul went against Carolina, but the talking with the referee is what I'm implying. Just go ahead and play.
And Virginia Tech played man down last game, Marcus Esco.
Yes, they already down a player that's not on the roster for this one.
Ball played all the way out of the stadium for the final couple of seconds of the first half. Well, Kyle, Virginia Tech struck very early on the road. North Carolina scoring a pair, though. They'll take the lead into the locker room.
And Virginia Tech came out on the road goal. At least you tried while trying to get that goal. If you sit back against this Carolina team who controls possession so well, you're just asking to give up another goal or at the very least keep it at 2-1.
Virginia Tech knows that at 8-4 overall, it's either win tonight, move on, and try and find a way to win the ACC tournament, or your season comes to a close. As for North Carolina, 7-3-5 on the season. Tar Heels appear safely into the NCAA tournament, and a run through the ACCs could easily propel them up into the national top 16 seeds, which means a first-round bye.
The only mark against Carolina are those 5 draws. You'd like to have a few of those turned into wins if you're the committee, and now you're looking at a top 15, top 10 kind of a team. But because you have those 5 draws, it just kind of makes it difficult to put them in that top tier.
Especially when you consider that a couple of those draws are against Loyola, Maryland, and William and Mary.
Yeah, a couple of head scratchers in there.
Quick restart. Play blown to a stop. Maiola Kinyua, who already has a yellow card, you've seen him have some extended conversations, to put it lightly, with Christopher Grabas tonight.
Had a good point there, though. Williams trying to play the ball not just quickly, but in front of where the referee had the spot.
Trickery from the Tar Heels. Tricks were last night. Check. Takes a look. Knocked away.
Looking out on the field, looks like a little bit of a different lineup from the way the game started for Carolina. We saw Bawa come in as well as Alquac as subs, and they stay on to start this second half.
Connor Pugh gets to it in the box for Virginia Tech. Crossed in. Headed by Harper, now Zinhard. A third header from Czech. Will takes possession back. Here's Fisher. Zinhard plays it out. There's a Tar Heel that took a shot to the head. I think that's Czech. But Ehrman playing on leads the break for Carolina. Virginia Tech was a little bit hesitant trying to get it into the box. Didn't get any sort of quality look, and now the Tar Heels take possession the other direction pretty quickly. Edwards up on the overlapping run, switches play. Parker O'Farrell dispossessed. Takes it back on his own right.
That was a great switch by Carolina. Would have liked to have seen O'Farrell keep going forward instead of trying to play it out wide for Alquac. Yoshizawa, through ball. But Virginia Tech in an offside position for the first time tonight. Connor Pugh a little bit too eager. We'll go to a VAR look at that last sequence to see if Virginia Tech was indeed offside. 2-1, Carolina on top of the Hokies here. First round action in the ACC Men's Soccer Championship. The winner moves on to see Wake Forest on Sunday. Demon Deacons are unbeaten at home in Winston-Salem this year. So either way, a tall task for whoever emerges from tonight's game. Wake happy sitting at home, not just because they don't have to play the first round matchup, but it'll be warmer come Sunday.
It's 45 degrees here tonight. Yes, Sunday at 4. The time change is Saturday night. Don't forget to adjust your clocks. It'll be dark by the end of that game at 4 o'clock, but still, that'll be warmer than a nighttime game here. So let's take a look at what the officials are looking at here.
So this I actually saw on the back end. Chet got grabbed down. That was Declan Quill. There was no whistle. And that was where you noticed Czech was down on the ground.
Yeah. Okay, so I stand corrected. What they're looking at is not the offside. They played on, and then once play came to a stop, the officials go back to that point to, no pun intended, check it out. Giving his explanation to Mike Brizendine. Carlos Samuano kind of standing back and away from this conversation. Both coaches pretty expressionless. Now the on-field captain receives the explanation. So, Will, you can see him make almost a brushing motion to check. And the official has not talked to Quill at all, but he has a card in his hand. Back over to the table he goes. And after that, no card. So the contact deemed insignificant and incidental enough that Quill will not go in the book. And after that, it's a goal kick. We play on.
Czech has been really active for North Carolina here tonight. Junior midfielder. They can have another player or two to complement what Erman and Vichian have been able to do this season. We've already seen Bawa step up with a goal for them to take the lead.
And that's been the if all season for this team. You look at the 3 losses, they're all 1-0. The defense is elite, and it has the pieces to compete on the absolute highest national level. If you're North Carolina, though, you just need a little more scoring punch. Find a way to make a deep run and be a top 5 team in the country.
If you pay attention and watch Carolina enough, Carlos Samuano is constantly changing personnel. And I don't mean just somebody will start one game and then not another. There's times where they just may not play for a game or two. Trying out those different combinations and different formations in a game. He's always been about having his team ready to play once the postseason comes. One of the reasons he's such a big proponent for the 21st century model.
Obviously, there's a lot of unique situations around the 2020-2021 season played amidst the pandemic, but I think back to that year where Carolina was very up and down, especially through the fall and even into the spring portion of that season. When tournament time hit, they went on a run, made it all the way to the College Cup, the 4th time that Carlos Samuano has led the team there in his tenure.
I think he recognizes that the ACC is so good that as long as you aren't losing a bunch of games and stay around that 500 mark, that's going to be good enough to get you into the tournament. Would he like to win every game? Yeah, obviously. They're competitors out there. Everybody wants to win all the time. But understanding what it takes to get in and then be at your best. You know, a regular season title means nothing if you've wasted all your energy on it and now you're not at your best for postseason time.
That's where we are here in the ACC tournament. North Carolina last year in the NCAA's bounced on this field by High Point 2-0 in the first round. Sunday at 4 on ACC Network. The Hokies make it there to Winston-Salem for the 2nd straight year that they've visited Wake Forest in the quarterfinals.
Because of the defense, I think if Carolina wins this, they've got a better chance against Wake Forest than Virginia Tech would. Hokies like to play a little bit more open, give up more goals to teams. And Wake Forest, let's face it, one of the better offensive all-around teams in college.
Yeah, Virginia Tech did not play Wake in the regular season. Carolina did, fell 1-0 in Winston, one of the 3 1-0 losses in ACC play for the Tar Heels. Here's Yoshizawa, the goal scorer for Virginia Tech, with space. Kinyua. Then Hackenberg against Thomas out on the flank. Hackenberg working his way into the box and eliminated by O'Farrell.
I'd like to see more numbers forward for the Hokies. You have possession deep in Carolina's territory. You still have just the one shot, which came a little over 2 minutes into this. Push numbers forward. Try and make something happen. If you wait until the 10 or 15-minute mark, you might find yourself down by multiple goals at that point.
Subs here about 8 minutes into the half. Theo Brennan back in for Virginia Tech. Carolina making some substitutions on the forward line. Martin Vichy, David Bercedo return to the proceedings.
Smart minute management by Carolina's coaching staff. I had mentioned how the half started with some of those subs up top. That means it's an extended break for Vichy and Bercedo going into half, having the half, and then to begin this one as well. And now because you have that re-entry rule, they can get another little break later.
Yeah, Ehrman now gets to sit and rest up if he's needed to try and go hunt a game winner if you concede here.
Carolina putting some pressure on Virginia Tech, but not as tenacious as you would typically see them. And why? You got the 1-goal lead. If they want to sit back, let them eat some clock and slow play it up the field.
All clock. Hitchian trying to track it down. It definitely feels like the game is tightened up a bit here in the second half, even though Virginia Tech finds themselves in the spot being down a goal.
With Carolina being so good defensively, I don't see them taking risks where they're going to open themselves up. Not unless Virginia Tech forces their hand.
And you look at that shot number, not only is it so skewed right there that Carolina has a 10-shot advantage, 8 shots on goal advantage. Virginia Tech's shot came in the 2nd minute. Cortez bangs it away. Kinyua trying to turn. Zinhard clears it out. Chance to build for the Hokies. Up the spine to Kinyua. Through ball knocked by Zinhard. Till Zinhard absolutely turning away any scoring opportunities for Virginia Tech.
Kinyua had the ball at his feet both times and took just a little bit too long. You got to get that ball and immediately know where you're going with it. You can't turn and look. Carolina's defense is going to collapse on you if you do that.
Williams dropped back for Harper. Edwards.
This is where Carolina can be clinical.
And especially holding a 1-goal lead. Check. Nice ball to Alquak, taken down. Let's see. Play on.
You're obviously going to get a bunch of hims and haws because you're at Carolina. Looked in real time like it was a good challenge. Got to the ball first.
Feneritis put his hands up immediately.
Because he's got positioning on Alquak, I think that's the right thing to go with no call there. If that leg is coming across and you take out the attacker's legs, now you're getting into PK territory.
Jamison Charles steps on for O'Farrell for Carolina. And a PK, especially in this stage of the game, is going to be so meaningful that...
It would be devastating if you give up a PK if you're Virginia Tech right here.
Absolutely. So if you're a referee in this circumstance, you want it to be indisputable if you're going to make that call at this point in a one-goal postseason game.
100% agree.
Williams looking far post, bounces harmlessly away from Adams. Here in favor of the Tar Heels. 3 games at this 6 o'clock hour in the ACC tournament first round. Score update from Durham. Duke has doubled the lead on Boston College. There's Sato looking for Alquak. Alquak keeping it alive. Back in front, check, played off and lifted over the bar. Golden chance for Vichian.
I don't know if this ball bounced on him or if the eyes just got too big and he rushed the shot, but take another look. Bad turnover from Virginia Tech. Turned this opportunity for Carolina, and he just rushed it. Sometimes you see so much goal that you lose that patience and think you got to get the shot off quicker than you do.
Roach checking in for Virginia Tech, replacing Quill. So as we were saying, Duke has doubled the lead on Boston College, 2-0 in Durham. Syracuse remains up on NC State, 2-0 there. Duke BC winner on to see Clemson. NC State Syracuse winner earns a trip to Charlottesville to see Virginia.
You win in the first round, and it's a short-lived celebration because you know you got a real tough matchup coming up on Sunday.
Pinua streaking forward, lays it off into space for Fenaritis, who touches it heavily, and it sails way high. That is one Fenaritis wants back.
That's a head scratcher there because he had a lot of room to continue coming forward. Even if he wants to take that shot himself, Edwards was coming from midfield, could have taken at least another dribble or two.
Yoshizawa, the goal scorer, back in for the Hokies. Third goal of the season for the Japanese native in the 2nd minute tonight.
Earlier you talked about how young this Virginia Tech team is, and it's good to look forward when you have young players making an impact.
Check in the box. Played away for a Carolina corner.
But you also have to deal with those growing pains out on the field. And for Fenderitis, a freshman out there, in a year or two, probably takes that dribble before taking the shot.
Carolina taking their time getting to the corner spot, trying to chew as much clock as possible.
Any set piece at this point. No need to run over. Take your time, get everybody set, and then wait until the referee says, all right, let's go.
To the far post, headed on, second ball, cleared off the line. Heck of a defensive play there for Connor Pugh. Williams keeping it alive for the Tar Heels. Alquak, fancy footwork. Alquak dispossessed by Yoshizawa.
Pugh is known for his goal scoring, tied for the team lead, but just saved one right there.
4 goals on the season for the Irishman.
I like that call off the corner for the Tar Heels to head it past everybody, or to play it in past everybody, and then have Thomas head it back into the crowd.
Jamison Charles over the ball. Tar Heels have ratcheted up the pressure here. Alquak, good service, Fitchian. Adams denies it. Martin Vician trying to use his noggin.
Reward the passer, they say in basketball. Vician, with a great one-touch at midfield, created this quick opportunity and nearly got himself a goal from it. It was a nice ball from Charles in, too.
A good build-up from the Tar Heels. For a Virginia Tech team down a goal, they've had a couple of looks here in the second half, but it definitely feels that Carolina may be closer to a third goal and a 2-goal lead than Virginia Tech is to an equalizer here.
You know, the thing to keep an eye on as we get into the last 30 minutes now, Virginia Tech has been on defense so much that those legs are going to start to get heavy. Even though it's not a hot day out there, that's a lot of running without much of a break.
Roach for Yoshizawa. Yoshizawa already has one. Kinyua goes off the back of Pugh. And yeah, they're going to say that that's out off Virginia Tech.
That's just tough luck right there. You got a shot that's going to be on frame, your first one since you scored 2 minutes into the game, and it happens to hit one of your teammates. He was offsides on that play, too.
So that's why the flag went up over there. But it's situations like that where Virginia Tech has the opportunity to build something, and one little mistake can take it out of the scoring possibility.
We talked about it in the first half. They had a number of opportunities in the final third against Carolina. Just couldn't make that final decision or that final pass in order to get the shot off. And they haven't cleaned up that mistake that they're making in that final third.
And you said it, Kyle, that happens with a young team relying on so many underclassmen to be contributors. Growth moments that happen out there on the field when the lights are on in game situations.
Yeah, it'll pay off, just tough when you're actually going through it.
And we asked Mike Brizendine, does this stretch, this 2-year stretch, remind you of any other point when you've been building in your 15-year career as the head coach of the Hokies? And he said, no, it doesn't. He said, yes, when he took the job, he had to build it up initially. But he said this team, even with the struggles in the win-loss column, is so much better than some of those early teams in his tenure in the early 2010s. In fact, he said if this year's team played one of those teams, this year's team would probably win 7-0.
The other thing is, and we see it with Carolina this year, you can take a young team that has a little bit of experience and add just 2 or 3 transfers, and all of a sudden you have a very experienced team.
Occasionally you'll hit the gold mine where you add a transfer that's not just a 1-year player. In the case of Martin Vician, he has 2 years of eligibility, so he was not honored on senior day. He's due to be back next year. That was the case with Till Zinhard as well.
Always a bonus when you can get them for more than 1 season. Especially when, in the case of those two, they kind of just integrate themselves into the team so quickly and seamlessly.
Zinhard has started every game since transferring in from Tulsa. Vician started all but 2 this year.
He started every game that he's been healthy in. Good tackle there by Charles.
There's Sato for Alquak. Alquak, nice back heel flick. Played out, Carolina corner.
That was a headsy play right there by Mercado. Not even close to the end line, but played off the defender and try and get yourself the corner.
Ernest Bawa coming into the game for the Tar Heels. He gave Carolina the lead in the late stages of the first half. 44th minutes. It starts with a tough Virginia Tech turnover, and Carolina capitalizes.
It's nice to have a senior that you can bring off the bench, somebody who has started at times in his career, but can be that spark plug coming in late in the first half and doing exactly what he did.
Bawa back in, ball bouncing around off the corner. A look for Harper! Charlie Harper! First career goal puts the Tar Heels up by a pair.
That's a big one for Carolina. That gives you a little bit of breathing room, some separation, and really puts more pressure on Virginia Tech now. Looked like it was Harper who got ahead on this ball first as it came in. And it was, and they just couldn't clear it. There's Czech, who's been involved in everything here tonight, it seems like. Look at all the Hokie jerseys standing around. I think that's been the thing that they really have struggled with defensively is nobody has taken control and said, it's my ball. I'm going to be the one to get this out. I'm going to attack it. Instead, almost sitting around waiting for each other to do it.
And it sounds like an excuse, but it just comes back to young team, growing pains.
Yeah, I mean, you can look exactly at the North Carolina side, right? We talked about how they've been together for 3, some of them 4 years, and now you're seeing the fruit of all of that. Hard times, losing last year in a first round to High Point here at home.
So now with a major sense of urgency, Virginia Tech trying to push it the other way. They need a pair simply to force overtime. Carolina ahead in shots now, 15-2. Shots on goal, 11-1.
I think if you're Virginia Tech, you've got to sell out at this point.
Their season's over if they don't win it tonight. Got absolutely nothing to lose at this juncture.
Yeah, if they were getting some opportunities in play and had more than just a couple of shots, it's still enough time where you can stick with the game plan, but they just haven't been able to create those opportunities.
What a moment for Charlie Harper. He started every game this year after not playing at all last season. A true citizen of the world, quite literally. He holds citizenships in Australia, Japan, and England. Hometown is listed as Melbourne, Australia, but he's a graduate of the American School in Tokyo and is fluent in Japanese.
Benaritis down on the near side. Looks like maybe cramping for him.
And you said it, Kyle, with all the defensive work that Virginia Tech's had to do tonight, the legs would become heavy, even though it's not a warm night.
The Hokies don't realize it.
Now Christopher Grabas bringing play to a stop is Benaritis, Cyprus native. Stretching things out.
Got to hand it to Matt Edwards, trying to help him up there. Let's get this clock going.
Yeah. So just under 21 minutes to go here. Another goal to report from Durham. Duke continues to pour it on as they now lead Boston College 3-0 in the 71st minute. Kyle, the shots in this game at halftime were 8-8. Duke has outshot Boston College 10-1 in the second half. So the Blue Devils appear headed for a trip to Clemson, South Carolina. Also, Syracuse maintaining the 2-0 lead over NC State, 63rd minute in snowy upstate New York.
The best teams continue to pile on. Don't be satisfied. You see Carolina doing that. You see Duke doing that. Already a couple of goal lead for Syracuse.
Duke now, in their last 3 games, has scored 17 goals. 7-0 over Howard, 7-1 over this Virginia Tech team. Now a 3-0 edge on Boston College.
That'll give an offense a lot of confidence.
Good to see Benaritis up on his feet. And this discussion is that he's now got to walk all the way across the field out of bounds because he caused the stoppage.
Yep, because they stopped the clock. He's got to go back to their side, but he's not allowed to walk across the field to do so because that would delay the game.
So he begins his journey on the Dorrance Field turf.
Smartly, Virginia Tech not going to take any chances. They're going to get somebody else in there.
They're going to bring Mayola Kinyua back in. So back to play. Check. Not enough on it. Roche. For a hokey throw. Virginia Tech has moved past the first round in the ACC tournament 5 of the last 6 years. 3 of those 5 have come as the worst seed. As Ethan Hackenberg checks in for Ben Fisher, the Hokies will need to find a way to 2 goals in less than 20 minutes if they want to keep that streak up. Ehrman ducking inside.
Good switch.
Farrell on the other end of it. O'Farrell on the ground for Bercedo. Bercedo looking for space. Bercedo running parallel to the top of the 18-yard box looking for space. Around here, that's a move called the alley center. Standout player, the ACC Midfielder of the Year for the Carolina women's team.
She doesn't need much space.
Nope. Williams.
Bawa gets down for Carolina.
Clock will come to a stop. Carlos Samuano out to check on the senior who scored the second of now 3 goals for the Tar Heels tonight.
It's kind of awkward the way that Cardona that came across him and they went to the ground.
See Bawa bounce up. He said it, if this scoreline holds, North Carolina has a pretty quick turnaround for a Sunday tilt in Winston-Salem. The good news is that the travel is not very intensive for that second round.
Sleep in your own bed.
Exactly. A team like a Syracuse having to go to Charlottesville, that's a bit of a journey.
That might be welcome, though. I doubt they're going to have snow when they play in Charlottesville.
That's true. Very true.
Now the game up in South Bend.
That could be your snow watch. Especially because that's the 8 o'clock game on Sunday night. Roche trying to pull one back. Shot blocked. Opportunity for a cross. On the ground and played out.
I like that Roche pulled the trigger on that ball from just outside the 18. Test the defense.
Why not? The season's on the line.
The season's on the line, but also you've got the ball within a shot distance, right? He's got a good enough leg to score from there, so Why look for that perfect pass when you can put one on frame? Maybe the keeper saves it, maybe the defender gets in the way of it, but maybe it's a rebound and you get a goal off of it. Maybe it slips through his fingers. I feel like sometimes young players especially will look for that extra pass, but sometimes you just have to be a little bit selfish and say, I'm putting this on frame.
We saw Carolina's first goal tonight. It was a ball that bounced off the mitts of the keeper, Adams. Virginia Tech couldn't clear it cleanly, and Quincy Ehrman took advantage of it.
The last one, ball that's in traffic, it's headed around, it's bounced around, nobody can clear it, and it finds its way into the back of the net.
Ehrman touches it on for check. Back for Ehrman. High and wide. Right idea. Ehrman just couldn't finish it.
What a touch from Ehrman. See on the replay. Live, I wanted Check to take this shot. I think he had a good angle, and then Ehrman could have come in for a potential rebound.
Ehrman just didn't have enough time to square his body up on frame there.
Yeah, that's where I would have rather had Check, because you're in a better position where he was. The angle's not great, but you've got numbers that are crashing.
Hackenberg. Top of the box, Hackenberg trying to turn inside, banged away by Edwards.
Really good defense by Zinhard, good challenge.
So we mentioned Virginia Tech trying to find their way to 2 goals to keep this one going. Boston College has to pull 3 back if they want to find a way to keep their season going. They're 1/3 of the way there. Eagles are on the board, Duke leading it 3-1. Not much time left, though, 79th minute. Now all 3 home teams have 3 goals on the board, as Syracuse has scored again. 3-0 lead in the 71st against the visiting Wolfpack. Check for Edwards. Edwards again. Bawa turning, and it's a brace for Ernest Bawa.
That's the killer. Team goal right there from Carolina. Great passing. Crisp, clean. Edwards with a good ball to Bawa and quick turn. I said it before with BC. Got to know where you're going to go with the ball before it gets to you. Bawa knew what he wanted to do.
Ernest Bawa came into the night with 2 goals on the season. He's doubled the output. North Carolina in cruise control now, under 15 minutes to go, up 3.
Ties their season high, 4 goals.
4-1 was the score against VCU, all the way back on September 4th. It's the most goals Carolina has scored against an ACC opponent this season. That was already the case when they reached their 3rd.
I mean, outside of the turnover that turned into the Virginia Tech goal, this has been almost a perfect game here from Carolina.
Finally, an offensive output that matches the caliber of defense that this team plays.
And if that's the case, if they can keep that up, you know, I'm not expecting 4 goals, but if you can score multiple goals consistently in the NCAA and ACC tournament with the defense that they have, they could beat anybody. It's a big if, though.
Test will get a lot tougher Sunday afternoon in Winston-Salem. The ACC's Atlantic Division champion Wake Forest Demon Deacons, defeated just once this year anywhere. Wolves and Deeks, Sunday at 4 on ACC Network, barring something completely unforeseen here from Virginia Tech. Roche slips it wide. Long cross toward the top of the 6. Played well by Edwards. It's out for a Virginia Tech corner.
I like that from Virginia Tech, though. Having an answer right away, getting an opportunity. Great ball played in. Edwards does a good job of playing the ball and not the player. Doesn't give up position.
Virginia Tech will switch goalkeepers. Adams heads to the bench. In comes Connor Jordan Hyde. Jordan Hyde is a 6th-year senior. He's been a part of the Virginia Tech program since 2018. Began the year as the starting keeper. Ran into some trouble, conceding 8 goals in the first weekend of the year. Did make the start on senior night against Radford. Now Jordan Hyde, presuming that this is the end for Virginia Tech. Very classy move by Mike Brizendine to put the 6th-year senior in there to finish out his long Hokie career on the field.
He saw the no preseason watch list, so obviously things haven't gone the way that he wanted his final season to go, but you're right. Really classy move to get him out there, reward him for all of the hard work that he has put in throughout his 6 seasons.
Popped around in the box. Check. Yoshizawa trying to turn. Kept alive Hackenberg. Ehrman heads it out. And a low flat ball will go out for a goal kick. Just under 11 minutes to go here. North Carolina appears to be headed toward a convincing win over Virginia Tech. Boston College making things interesting in Durham. We told you that they needed to pull 3 back to keep the game going. They're now 2/3 of the way there. Duke led it 3-0. BC's pulled it to 3-2 in the 84th.
It means Virginia Tech's still got a chance in this one.
Yeah. Also, another 4-goal output comes from Syracuse. The Orange pouring it on NC State. 4-0, 73rd minute there.
BC with those 2 goals against Duke, that's exactly why you have to keep pushing and don't get complacent because you have just a 1 or a 2-goal lead.
Because Boston College is in the exact same spot as Virginia Tech. If they don't win tonight, their season's done. You're not playing another game till next August.
And what's it matter if you lose 3-0 or 6-0? Loss is a loss, so push numbers. Maybe you can get some things to happen.
Hackenberg's header, gloved by Cordes.
See, and this is where I was saying I was a little frustrated with Virginia Tech earlier in this half. Why was the sense of urgency that we're seeing right now that's creating some chances, why was that not here the whole 45 or at least the last 30?
Obviously, we can't read minds and emotions, but sometimes scoring so quickly can be a negative because you relax almost too much when you have success in a road situation like this right from the get-go.
Relax and also think, okay, if we got one that quickly, that easily, we're going to have more chances.
Right.
It's going to come.
Hackenberg turning inside on Edwards. Attempted through ball for Roach.
That was a great recovery from Edwards. He was at midfield when that ball was played down.
We had the conversation earlier about his involvement in the offensive game and how in order to be such a factor on the offensive side for the Tar Heels, he's got to be able to get back quickly in quick switch situations to defense. On full display right there.
It's being in tremendous shape, but also understanding the angles to take, so you're taking the shortest route.
why you should pay attention in geometry class, kids. Bawa, 2 goals tonight. Does he have a hat trick in it? Drops it back for Yoshizawa. Harper again.
I see those subs waiting for Carolina to come back in. It's Vitchian and Alquak.
Once more. Crossed in, headed high by Pugh. Cortez take his time into this one. Carolina will make subs. Tar Heels bring Alquak and Vitchian back in.
Charles coming in as well.
3 bodies playing out the final few minutes of this one for Carolina. Bawa will step off. He'll finish his night with a brace. Parker O'Farrell done as well. The opportunity to get these guys off their feet with the short turnaround before Sunday's game welcomed for Carlos Samuano and staff. Connor Jordan Hyde, state champion in high school in Virginia prior to moving to Kansas for his senior year. Alquak down the end line. Alquak back in front. Long look for Charles, sails high. Quite the athletic pedigree in Connor Jordan Hyde's family. His father, James, represented the United States in the 1988 Seoul Olympics in weightlifting.
Talking about the Olympics, hard to believe it's getting so close for the LA Olympics.
2028 Paris Games in 2024, just a few months away. Alquak. Vitchian's got a couple of defenders on him. Nice tackle there. Valiant effort for Boston College, but their comeback attempt falls short. Duke hangs on. They win it 3-2. So Duke moves on to see Clemson. Our first quarterfinal matchup is set. Those two teams did play in the regular season on that field. Was a 2-0 Clemson win.
I said it during the half, and I still think that's my pick for the ACC title this year.
Tigers got started a little slowly, but been playing much better as the year's gone along.
It's kind of crazy when you look at the last 5 years of the ACC championship. Clemson's the only team that's been there more than once. They've been there 3 times. Nobody else has more than one single appearance. Tough league and a lot of parity in it.
Sam Williams has gone down for Carolina. Play will continue for the moment. And he makes the motion to the bench to ask for a sub. 3.5 minutes to go. Clock will stop because any substitution by the team ahead in the final 5 minutes, injury or no injury, stops the clock. Sunday's matchup in Winston-Salem will be the sixth meeting in the ACC tournament between two classic conference programs. Wake Forest leads the ACC tournament series 2-1-2. They have not met since 2007 in the tournament. But Carolina leads the all-time series 23-16-10. Wake Forest, the 1-0 win October the 14th.
It'll be a heavyweight battle, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Now that's one where we talked earlier in this game. These two played each other so early in the season. You look at the film, but you're not studying it too much because teams have changed so much. Personnel has changed so much. But the matchup for Wake Forest and UNC, it's one you can look a little bit closer at.
Yeah, October 14th, November 4th. That's 3 weeks. Andres Cardenas makes his first appearance against an ACC foe since September 30th against Pitt. He'll replace Williams here for the final 3.5. Also, another goal has been scored in upstate New York. Syracuse leads it 5-0 against NC State now.
Leave no doubt.
It's a theme for both Carolina and Syracuse. A couple of teams that feel like they are better than their record indicates, had trouble scoring key goals, whether it be to put an opponent away or to earn 1 point instead of take a defeat. Just emphatic home victories tonight for both of those teams.
Syracuse is another team I don't think anybody wants to see on their schedule in the postseason, whether it be ACC or NCAA tournament, if for no other reason than that's the defending national champion. They've got a lot of those guys back. They know how to get it done. Dangerous team.
It feels like in any sport, postseason play is whoever's hot at the right time. Charles keeps the pressure up for the Tar Heels. Juan Cafaro in the game. Cafaro, a low flat shot blocked. Czech will get back to it. Cafaro again. Here's Charles. Looking for the angle. Cardenas just in the game as a substitute. And banged away. Virginia Tech season will come to a close at 4-9-4. They'll end the year losers of their last 4. But with a young team, we've talked about it throughout the night, a lot of pieces. Oliver Roche on the forward line. Timmy Adams in goal, due to come back next season. Mike Bersendine's team will continue to be a factor in the ACC, and you'd expect to continue their ascent next season.
And that's got to be the message all off season.
They took a step from last year. Hackenberg's shot is saved. Now, let's take another step forward.
Exactly. There's no, you go from last to first. It doesn't happen that way.
Nope.
So take a step. They got themselves a few wins this year. They were in some games. The next step is now closing out some of those closer ones and not being on the losing side. Coming together a little bit defensively.
Definitely a lot to look forward to. North Carolina conceding in the 2nd minute tonight, equalized in the 29th minute. Since then, it's been all Tar Heels. The 18-8 shot number, not even really indicative of how this game played out. Virginia Tech has been firing at will a bit down the stretch as the score lines continue to balloon. But the 7th-seeded Tar Heels putting together one of their best games of the season. Now we'll move forward to see Wake Forest on Sunday.
And, you know, I really think if you're a coach, if you're Carlos Zambrano and his staff, this is probably about as good as things could have gone, because you've got some ammo to go say, hey, don't be too happy. You gave up a terrible turnover and it gave up a goal early.